Thank you again very much for joining this call. And my name is Madhya Shah. I'm the Senior Gender Equality Advisor of ADRA Canada and the chairperson of the GTLL. I have also here our team members, Karuna. Would you please raise your hands, Karuna? The gender specialist for ADRA Nepal and the GTLL co-chair, and Sharmila. Raise your hand, Sharmila. Yeah, she's the network program coordinator based in ADRA International, who's doing a really good job in coordinating and taking care of the logistics of all TLL sessions and webinars. And for those of you who joined the GTLL for the first time, the GTLL is a technical working group of experts in gender equality and social inclusion across our network, where experts learn and share best practices, approaches, and trends across the network. And this specific GTLL webinar is organized to commemorate the International Day of the Girl Child, which is observed on October 11 annually worldwide. And the International Day of the Girl Child is a day that's dedicated to celebrating the voice and power of girls, championing their rights worldwide, and reflecting on the challenges they continue to face because of their gender. And in this series, we'll be discussing the pathways to equality and adolescent empowerment through implementing a gender-responsive and a gender-transformative inclusive school interventions, featuring insights from ADRA Nepal's work in advancing equality in schools and best practices for ADRA Norway initiative to improve educational outcome for marginalized groups, including girls and children with disabilities. Just a brief introduction of our presenters today. Anine, would you please raise your hand? Anine, she is an education technical advisor at ADRA Norway, bringing over 20 years of experience in pedagogical and inclusive education. And her expertise includes providing strategic guidance and technical leadership for gender responsive and disability inclusive education programs, and in advancing girls' empowerment to take on leadership roles through education programs across diverse regions. And Anine is dedicated to improve educational outcome for marginalized groups, including girls and children with disabilities. The other presenter for this webinar is Suraj Acharya. Suraj, would you please raise your hand? He's a postgraduate. He has a postgraduate in agricultural economics from the Agriculture and Forestry University of Nepal, currently serving as a project manager at ADRA Nepal, and leveraging over 10 years of experience as a humanitarian worker focusing on food security and livelihood. So each of them will take 10 minutes presentation, and we'll have an interactive question and answer session. And before going to our speakers, I would like to say a few words about the housekeeping rules. At the housekeeping rule, we expect this space to be safe, inclusive, and respectful, as well as interactive environment. And during the Q&A session, which is about 25 minutes, you can raise your hands and ask questions, or you can use the chat box to post your questions. Sharmila will monitor the chat box for us. And please also mute your mics unless you are using it to avoid unnecessary background noise. At the end, Karuna will share key points and we will conclude the session. But this session will be recorded and it will be shared on ADRA's YouTube channel. So now, without further delay, I will leave the role to our first presenter, Anine. Anine, would you please introduce yourselves and proceed with your presentation? Thank you.
Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Nice to be with you. I'm going to share a little bit from, I'm in ADRA Norway, I'm based in ADRA Norway, but I'm working closely with several countries, but I will share from, especially from Mali and Niger, I work very close with. I have talked with them and they have given input to this presentation, but they wanted me to present. Okay, so let me see how I can do that. Just have to share screen, which I thought that I knew. Let me try that. Okay. Can you see my screen? My slide now?
Yes, Annie.
Okay. So, let me see. How can I go to the next slide? Okay. So I'm going to share a little bit on how we have worked to empower girls and learners with disabilities in Mali and Niger. And first, this is from the World Inequality Database on Education, and it shows some of the differences or inequalities between girls and boys, but also rural and urban areas in Mali and Niger. So, for instance, in rural areas in Mali, 66% of girls and 57% of boys are out of school. So both boys and girls are disadvantaged, but girls are more disadvantaged than boys. And the differences are even bigger in Niger. This is how you can play. If you go to this database on UNESCO, you can play around a little bit with the different locations and the different types of statistics. This is a snapshot of our program. It's a very comprehensive education program that we have in 7 countries. And I've marked in red some of the points that are important for girls. It's both that girls get access to school, but it's also about the quality when they're in school and empowerment in schools. It's both the focusing on the teacher professional development and gender-sensitive curriculum and also safety and protection. In Mali and Niger, the insecurity is very high, so it's also very important to work with a safe school declaration. Some of the things that we are doing for student empowerment and girls empowerment is the focus we have on student government or student clubs and the school inclusion teams, child protection, dignity kits for girls, and incentives for girls. And one important thing for girls to have access to school is to have gender segregated latrines. Everything around the school is also important, the culture around and the communities around. So the parent-teachers associations and parents' engagement and mothers groups are also important. And DPOs stand for Organizations for People with Disabilities, and I will come back to that later. Okay. So here are some numbers from our program. This is our numbers combined for enrollment in Mali and Niger. And here you can see the boys and the girls. So it's still more boys than girls, but the gap is closing on the first graph. We had a very good like progress, and then in 2022 you can see that it's widening again, so it's more boys than girls, and the gap is wider, and this is because of very high insecurity that year, so girls could not go to school. We have worked very closely with communities to work with the Safe School Declaration and to negotiate with jihadists and so on. And you can see the results in 2023, which actually was even higher insecurity, but the girls could go to school again. The other graph is from students with disabilities, and here you can also see girls and boys. And I wanted to bring this webinar is about girls empowerment, but I wanted to also show that girls with disabilities are the most disadvantaged. Also, it's also a gender gap when it comes to children with disabilities. And these are also from our program, how many girls and boys could pass the final exam in primary school and continue to secondary school. And it's good to see that now this gender gap is closed. There's even more girls than boys that pass the exam. But you can also see with the children with disabilities that there's still a gender gap. Okay, so what are we doing for? I wanted to focus more on like empowerment. I think that's very important to not only bring girls to school, but that girls can have a voice and learned to take initiative. I think we just looked at results, very good results from national exams, and I could have shown also very good results from tests on reading and writing and mathematics. But learning is more than that. It's also to be it's much more than just reading, writing, and counting. It's to be able to speak your voice, to have an opinion, and to make decisions, and to be part of making decisions. In all the schools that we support, they have something called school inclusion teams. And the school inclusion teams they are represented both with one girl and a boy, and also someone with disabilities and someone without disability. The school principal, the school management committee president, and a representative of the local Federation of People Living with Disabilities, and the head of the village where the school is located. And the school inclusion team works with addressing barriers to girls and children with disabilities and other marginalized groups to be coming to school. So they work for their own rights. And so this is a story. It's from a school in Mali where they could bring back girls to school that had dropped out. And this boy, he represents students with disabilities in the school inclusion team, and he found this girl, and she says that she left school 2 years ago because she was going to get married, and she ran away to live with her grandmother. But then she knew this boy, and he talked with her and explained that she could come back to school. And so the school inclusion team also talked with the girl's family. So she was allowed to not get married. And now she's also part of the school inclusion team. This is from an inclusive sports event that the school inclusion team also organized. This is just to show from the student government is also, I think, very important for empowering girls. And this is a manual how the student government should elect representatives, equal girls and boys, and how student government can be part of improving schools. And one of the things that the student government is doing is, here's a picture from that. So this is from an event celebrating the Children's Rights Day. So the children are themselves, or the students themselves, are advocating for children's rights. The student government, together with the school, have decided on themes to address on the celebration of the Children's Rights Days in November. And they have decided to address early marriage because that's one of the problems in the area. And so they're doing, here you can see a role play, and they're doing speeches and poems to advocate for children's rights. So they're, I think this is showing empowerment to girls and boys, but also showing that learning is also being an advocate and being part of your own advocacy. This girl is the leader of one of the student governments in one of the schools in Gurmararos, Mali. She was about to get married, and then she was found by the school inclusion team, and they intervened and discussed with her family and with her, and she was allowed to continue school. And now she's a leader of the student government, and she feels that this program has changed her life. And this would have been unthinkable that she could have been the leader of the student government just before this intervention started. So that was the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anini. Thank you so much for sharing your experience in West Africa on inclusive education and the importance of empowering girls and students with disabilities, as well as highlighting the importance of working in partnership with different stakeholders, including the girls, teachers, teachers' parents associations, and other partners in the education system. So thank you very much, Anini, for sharing the good experience. Now we'll pass on to our next presenter, Suraj. Suraj, are you there?
Yeah.
Please share your PowerPoint presentation. You have 10 minutes. Thank you.
Second, please. You see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Suraj, and I work as a project manager here in ADRA, Nepal. And first of all, thanks to Maddie, Samila, and the whole GTLL team for providing this opportunity to share our work. Today we are presenting how ADRA Nepal has been working to empower girls and women through school GESI program in our one of our project. So I'll start with my presentation now. So we'll have introduction in this presentation. We'll have the approach. We'll also present on the learnings from our school GESI program and also the challenges that we faced while implementing the school GESI program. So objective of this school GESI program, one of the first objective is to raise awareness among the adolescent girls and boys. So we wanted to increase their awareness or understanding on gender equality and social inclusion. Also, not only the boys and girls, but also the students, teachers, and also the parents of the boys and girls whom we work with through this school GESI program. Second one is empowerment. We want to equip students with the knowledge to advocate on their rights and also for the rights of the others. And also we want to prevent and keep children safe at school from any kind of violence or address and prevent gender-based violence and harassment at school. So the target audience of our school GESI program is the school students and teachers. So we implement this school GESI program in secondary level schools. So the students from grade 7 to 10, 7 to 9 are enrolled in this school GESI program. And also another objective of the school GESI program is to promote safe spaces in the schools where students feel safe discussing sensitive topics like gender-based violence, PSEH, or any kind of abuse, harassments that they are facing. And also we wanted to encourage critical thinking by fostering discussions among students on stereotypes or that happen in the society or any kind of social taboos and promote equality. So in this school GESI program, we have 8 sessions. So the first session is the conceptual clarity on sex and gender. We discuss on what is sex and how gender is different from sex. The second one is terminologies and its definition. So we discuss on the different terminologies related with gender equality and social inclusions, and we also try to define what the terminology means with the students. And next one is gender socialization. In this session, we teach or we make the school students aware on how our socialization process has been affecting the girls and boys for gender equality, and how it has been creating some kind of societal taboos and the cultural norms for the socialization process through which we come about has affected the gender equality. And the fourth section is on social norms and values that has been in our society since long time, and which is not, providing justice for the women, girls, or boys. And the next session is on gender analysis, where the students are taught on analyzing the 24-hour workload of male and female from their households. So they go to their home and do a 24-hour workload analysis of their father, mother, brothers, sisters, and even of themselves. So it helps to analyze what are the gender roles and how it has been gender roles defined by the society and how it has been affecting the male and female members of the households. The next session is on child protection, where we teach or discuss on this aspect of child protection, where we teach small students or children on good touch and bad touch, what they need to know about the child protection so that they can be safe at school or at the communities or even at their home. The next session is on gender-based violence. We discuss on what are the types of, first we discuss on what is gender-based violence and the types of gender-based violence and how it has been affecting our society. So this is the session where we discussed on gender-based violence. And the next session is on the prevention of sexual exploitation, abuse, and harassment, where in this session we discuss about basically on sexual exploitation, abuse, and harassment. What is sexual exploitation? How do you separate sexual exploitation, abuse, and harassment? So in this session, we discussed on the sexual exploitation, abuse, and harassment that happens at informal settings like schools, or even the offices of their parents, mothers, sisters. So we teach them on what sexual exploitation, abuse, and harassment is. So by the end of this, all 8 sessions, at the end of the school GESI program, we also have a review and reflection sessions among the students and teachers. So that's how we end the school GESI program for a year. So how did we conduct school GESI program? First, we had a consultation meeting with students, teachers, and management of school management committees, including the local government representatives and departments, concerned departments from the local government, like education, health, women and children departments, for exploring the possibility of conducting school GESI program in their local government. After we developed and printed the resource material, like we have a school GESI book or a content where we provide it to the teachers, so that it's like a guideline for the teachers, where it's written how to conduct the first session, second session, and so on. And also we have the content to discuss on the different sessions. And then after we selected the teachers by coordinating with the schools for delivering the school GESI to the students. After selecting the teachers, the project facilitates for the selection of the teachers, but it's the school themselves who select the teachers. So after we get the final list of teachers for the school GESI program, we conducted 2 days training of trainers for those teachers in 2021 and 2022. And then after 1 year, we also provided them with a 1-day refresher training or orientation to those teachers again. I already mentioned that we have 8 sessions for this school JC program. So previously we didn't have the session on sexual exploitation, abuse, and harassment at the first year. But in second year, in consultation with the teachers, and also after receiving the feedback during review and reflection sessions with the teachers, and also with the students, we included the session on sexual exploitation, abuse, and harassment from the second year. So I already mentioned the review and reflection sessions among teachers and students were conducted at the end of school JC program each year. So the major approach or the methodology for conducting this school JC program is this is an interactive group discussion where we discuss with the students and teachers. Teachers facilitate the school JC sessions, and students from grade 7, 8, 9 take part in that school JC or the different sessions for discussing different subject matters. And also it is a peer education program where the students learn from each other, where they learn from their communities, learn from their everyday work or what they see. And it involves parents. So as I already mentioned in my previous slide, that the 24-hour workload analysis as a part of gender analysis, that involves the parents. And also different session. After each sessions, the students go to their home and discuss it with their parents, discuss with their sisters, brothers. So it involves the members, not only the students, but it also involves the members from the households. And one good thing about this school JC program or the different sessions in this school JC program is it is made as pictorial as we could. So there are many pictures which demonstrates the difference between sex and gender, difference between equality and equity. So we have made it more pictorial. So the major learnings that was shared with us from the students who participated in this JC program was some say that they have learned that all genders are equal in terms of status, roles, responsibilities, and opportunities. Basically, it means both male and female, men and women are equal in terms of all those things. One of the students said that unknowingly I had followed the discrimination. I had to go through the discrimination in my home, and I didn't know that was a discrimination. But after going through the school JC program or after participating in the school JC sessions, I came to know that it was a discrimination. So not only within my households, but also in the community, the discrimination is existing, and now I'm very clear on it, and I'll be very sensitive towards it from now on. Another student said that I will not commit violence and I will not bear violence anymore. I'll speak against it. And one student said that I initiated the process of change by sharing the household chores with my mother. As we engaged in a 24-hour workload analysis, we also discussed how to distribute this. So basically, it means that after having, even though they unconsciously know the work of the father, mother, different responsibilities, roles of brothers, sisters, but they were not fully aware of how it is affecting their daily lives. So if a mother is working 10 hours per day, and if a father is working 8 hours per day, it not only have the workload on mother, but the most of the work that a mother does is unpaid job or unpaid work. So that was more clearer for the students after this school JC program. A few of the impacts or stories to tell is we have 18 government schools enrolled in our school JC program from the 2 local governments. Out of 18 schools, there are 18 teachers who participated in the training, and there were 1,107 students who participated in this school JC sessions, out of which 390 were boys and 717 were girls. So one of the girl student who participated in this program said that before these sessions, I used to believe that household chores were normal, naturally women's jobs. I remember thinking it was just the way things were, but now I come to understand that this is a gender role imposed by society, not an inherent women's responsibility. Now we are starting to share household responsibilities among us. So I think that this is one of the good impact that this program had on these children. Also, a male student of class 10, after attending the session, start talking to his parents about what he learned. Specifically, they have been asking questions about traditional gender roles at home, with some families now beginning to divide household chores more equitably among boys and girls. So it's just a small steps from towards gender equality. It's not like that we have done big and huge impacts, but it's a small step. So now the school children, boys and girls, have started to raise the questions or ask the parents and why a female is assigned this task and why a boy or a man are assigned this task. So I think this school JC program had a good impact in the community as well. Also, like-minded agencies replicated this modality in their project. So we have a consortium which basically works for the gender-related activities. Let's say GESI, gender equality, disability, and social inclusion-related activities. So it's among the Australian counterparts. So we have ARTRA Australia, Caritas, LWF, different 4 organizations, and we call that Power Project. So after seeing the impact of this school JC program in ARTRA Nepal's project, they also have replicated this program in their project as well. So I think this is a good impact that our project had. So the best practices is we have adapted our sessions to be culturally relevant and age appropriate. And we regularly build the capacity of the teachers. It's not one-off training for the teachers. We provide refresher trainings in consultation with the teachers, school management committees, and also the parents. Group exercises with families for workload analysis. So as I already mentioned, this not only involves school students, it also involves the parents indirectly. So the group exercises with the families for workload analysis, role-playing exercise with the peers. So provide students with the opportunity to develop empathy and perspective within themselves for creating a gender-just society. So with this program, the local government has also allocated some budget from their side to implement this school JC program. So this is not just the activities or intervention from ARTRA Nepal, but this is the collaborative effort from ARTRA Nepal together with the local government. So after implementing this program for 1 year, we have been able to integrate this JC sessions into the local government's curriculum, which in itself shows the impact of our program. So this included additional JC curriculum, so beyond what they teach in their school. So we have an additional JC subject curriculum, which teacher teach in the school. So after seeing the impact of our program, the local government responded positively, and we have been able to integrate these sessions into the local government's education curriculum. ARTRA Nepal has also taken proactive steps to promote JC within Project Intervene schools by assigning a gender focal person in coordination and collaboration with the schools that we work with. So every schools that we've been implementing this school JC program has now a gender focal person who looks after all the JC related issues or programs. So also there were some challenges while implementing this program. So first was, sorry.
I
Yep.
think you passed your 10 minutes. So can you please wrap up maybe in 1 minute?
Yeah, please, sorry.
Yeah.
So one of the challenges has been addressing the cultural norms and biases, which has been rooted in the society since a long time. Another one is the active participation, especially from the boys. So boys were a little less interested than the girls. Another one is difficult to allocate time for the classes apart from the regular school sessions or school classes. So opportunities that we see is engaging parents, teachers, and students in future. We can see there is more opportunities, more scope for engaging parents, teachers, and students. So the future plan is to reach more schools and expand our school GC program. And also we want to include disability sessions in our school GC program. And we want to align and endorse this school GC with regular school sessions or classes. And we also want to initiate and establish a JC learning lab or resource corner in schools. Maybe in the library, we can have a designated corner for the JC learning. So these are some photos. This is from one school where the teacher is conducting school JC session. This is the same. And this is the school JC session where they have, the students have done some group works and are presenting. This is the cover page of our school JC book that we have developed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Suraj, for sharing your experience of our Nepal School JC program that aims to transform gender roles and norms that are the root cause of inequalities, and also, sensitizing and informing students about gender-based violence and sexual exploitation and abuse, again, through working with the school community, including students, teachers, and other partners. So now we'll pass to the question and answer sessions. So we have 15 minutes to do that. So please feel free to raise your hands, or you can also put your questions in the chat box. Thank you. I would like to say thank you to both of the presenters. Yeah, good job. Any questions or remarks?
Yes, I think regarding the first presentation, the question would be for Anne. How did they manage to work with in the project with children with disabilities when sometimes happens that in the families they normally don't encourage them to continue studying? How did they manage to do it in the project?
Yeah, so you're right, with students with disabilities are often hidden away, and it's a lot of stigmatization around being disabled, and also parents are afraid of sending their children to school because they will be bullied, things like that. So so we have worked on all the different aspects that you saw in the first slide, with both with teacher training, but also with the parents groups, the Parents Teacher Association, and the school inclusion teams has been very important. There we have worked closely with going and visiting families where they know have children with disabilities. So the knowledge of the village, and then also sensitization and awareness raising, and so it's a lot of things going on at the same time. One thing that happened after the school closure with Corona, we had learning in small groups in the homes and listening to the radio, and the parent teacher associations were in charge of this, and they focused on that all the groups should be placed in homes, so that they made sure that children with disabilities were included in those small groups. And so when schools opened again, these children had a positive experience with learning and being with peers. And now they knew some of the children in school. And this also boosted the enrollment for children with disabilities significantly. So suddenly we had, several hundred more children with disabilities in the 45 schools in Niger and Mali.
Many thanks, Annie. That's very clarifying. Thank you.
Thank you, Annie. Thank you, Vilma. Next question.
So until somebody comes, just raise your hand, but I can also say something
Sure.
more on that. So Suraj also talked about the protection part is very important, and it's something that we will work much more with also going forward, is because of it's not only the stigmatization that's a problem and children being hidden away, but when they start coming to school, they're very much more vulnerable for bullying and harassment. And that needs a very high focus in the school and in the teacher trainings, both for girls, like with focus on both girls and children with disabilities, and especially girls with disabilities are very vulnerable to that. So that's something that we need to take very serious and do trainings and awareness and continuous work with it also with the students themselves in the school inclusion teams and students' governments.
Thank you, Anine. Is there any other question? Maybe for Suraj or for Anine? Okay, I think there is one. Okay. So I have one question, Suraj. So is the school GESI program part of a project component, or is it a project by itself?
Thank you, Manny. It's a project. It's a part of the project. Like it's one of the project intervention. It's not a project in itself, but it's the project. So we have different outcomes and outputs of the project. So under one output, where GESI is focused, this is one of our activities where we coordinate and collaborate with the schools and teachers and local governments.
So what kind of project is it? Is it as education or livelihood?
So this is a livelihood project. So this project, we're implementing it in the western part of Nepal. So the project is supported by ADRA Australia, and this is funded by Australian government. So we have been implementing it since it's almost been a decade that we have been implementing this project, and we're currently in at the end of the second phase of this project. So by coming June, we're closing this project. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. It's very interesting.
Can I ask you something also, Suraj?
Sure.
Yeah, please. Of course.
I saw that you said something about the teachers having the training, and you had. So do you have that material, or is that something you could share, like the curriculum that you used for the gender training?
Yeah, GESI school. I have to check whether we have it in English or not, because we developed this training material in local language, which is Nepali, of course. So I have to check if I have whatever material I have, I can share it. Yeah.
Suraj, there's a
Mm.
question in the chat. Was the local government open to collaborate, or did you first have to expend time in advocacy and negotiation to reach it?
Actually, it's obvious that they will not be open at first. We have to advocate, we have to showcase some of our impacts, small outcomes. So basically, this is not the first time that we have worked with the schools for JC related programs. So we also conduct different JC related events, like we celebrate International Children's Day together with the schools. So looking at the impact of our project and also the impact or the results of our activities in coordination with the local schools, the local government was quite interested, and they were very much interested to work together with us. So well, we first went to the local government and asked with them if they have any kind of any budget allocated for the programs on, JC related programs, which is focused on school students. So after consultation with the local government, initially they were reluctant, hesitant to invest or allocate budget for these activities. So at first we started the activities on our own. So on behalf of the project, we started on our own. Later on, they also wanted to invest from the side and allocated some budget from the next year's program. And that's how we collaborated with the local government. Yeah, of course, it was difficult at the beginning to collaborate with the local government.
Thank you so much, Suraj, for the elaboration. So we have 4 minutes before we end this webinar. So if Suraj and Anine kindly share your emails in case the participants have more questions, they can reach out to you directly. And then, as I said it initially, this webinar is recorded and it will be shared on YouTube for some of you who would like to review, or for some of them who are not able to attend this session, they will have an opportunity to see or to get lessons from this webinar. So before we end this session, Karuna, would you please take 2 minutes or 3 minutes to reflect on the key learnings of this session? Thank you.
Thank you, Maddie. Namaskar. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for active participation on today's webinar on empowering girls through school intervention. And today's focus was to discuss on the critical role that school-based intervention play in promoting gender equality, empowering girls to overcome the societal barriers and pursue their education. And today we discussed key strategies and successful initiatives aimed to improving girls' access to quality education, including those with disabilities, and creating supportive and inclusive learning environments. And we also explored best practices from Mali, Niger, and Nepal for engaging diverse stakeholders in this report as well. So along with this, we also discussed community engagement, engaging with the SMC and the parents club as well, and engagement and advocacy, where local leaders, parents, educators, teachers work together to increase in enrollment of children in education, shift cultural norms and attitude that restrict girls' educational opportunities. And at last, we also share the case studies here from the presenters, demonstrate how these interventions have increased school attendance and reduced dropout rates. Overall, today's discussion reinforced that the idea that school intervention are essential for empowering girls, unlocking their potentials, and developing a more equitable society. So I think that's the key of today's discussion. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Karuna, for summarizing key points of this webinar. So I would like to say thank you to everyone for joining this call, for making active participation. And hopefully you found this webinar informative and interactive, and hopefully you'll take some lessons that can be replicated in your individual projects. So thank you so much. We'll be sharing the presentation as well as the webinar via Sharmila. How are we going to share with them the PowerPoint?
Sure. This webinar was recorded and it will be put on the ADRA TLL YouTube channel. I will share the link to that channel on our Hub spaces.
So everybody has to sign up for the Hub, right? To get access to
Yes.
that. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you so much, everyone, for your time, and hoping to see you in the upcoming TLL webinars. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye, everyone.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.